This is a clay cylinder. To make a clay cylinder, start by deciding on how big you would like the cylinder to be. There are several different size pipes available in the room for you to use. Once you've decided on the diameter of the cylinder you would like to make, use that pipe to draw a circle on a piece of paper and put a dot in the middle. Use a ruler to measure the distance from one side of the circle through the middle to the other. Draw a line across this distance. For this cylinder, the diameter was about 2.5 inches. When you measure the diameter, always round up to the nearest whole or half number. Your measurements don't have to be painstakingly exact for this, but they can't be too small or you'll end up with clay slabs that are too small. The reason we measure the diameter is so that we can use it to find the circumference or the distance around the circle. To find the circumference or the distance around the circle, you're going to multiply pi times the diameter. Pi is 3.14 and the diameter for this circle is 2.5. To make things easier and to make sure we end up with enough clay, we'll go ahead and round 3.14 up to 3.5 and do 3.5 times 2.5 to find the circumference. You can use a calculator or do that math in your head. In this case, the circumference was around 8.75, and we will go ahead and round 8.75 up to the whole number of 9. That means that the distance around that circle is roughly 9 inches. Technically, the circumference of that circle would be a bit less than 9 inches, but we rounded up to give ourselves a little bit of extra clay to work with. Now we will use that circumference measurement to draw out the rectangle that will be the wall of the cylinder. So I'm going to count out 9 inches on the inch graph paper. Then I'm going to decide how tall I would like my cylinder to be. I'm thinking about 5 inches in height. So I'm going to measure out 5 inches on the graph paper and then draw that entire rectangle. This will be the wall of my cylinder. Don't forget to put your initials on it. Cut out your templates, nice and neat. Cut out your base template as well. And once your templates are complete, you're ready to roll out some clay. For the base, you'll need a medium hunk of clay, and you'll roll from the center out and flip. Flip your clay over every 2 to 3 rolls so that it doesn't stick to the table. Roll and flip until your clay slab is as thick as your pinky. Do not roll out a clay slab that is thicker than your pinky because it will be too heavy, and do not roll out a clay slab that is thinner than your pinky because it will be too weak. Set your base template down on your slab and use a knife to cut it out. As you cut it out, leave a pinky's width of extra clay around the edge so that your wall has room to rest on your base. Do this carefully and neatly. Once you have your base, you'll be ready to roll out and cut out your wall. You'll need a large hunk of clay and roll and flip, keeping your slab even, neat, and continue rolling until it is pinky thin. Once you have it, set your template on the slab and cut it out right along the edge of your template, right next to the paper. Now you have the pieces you need to begin building your cylinder. Use the same size pipe that you drew your base with and wrap a piece of paper around it tightly and then fold the ends down into the inside of the cylinder. This will create a mold that you can wrap your clay slab around, and the paper will keep the clay from sticking. You can wrap the clay slab around the pipe to see how it fits. There should be some overlap. You may get to this point towards the end of the class period, and if you do, you can store your clay wrapped around the pipe on your shelf. We are now ready to attach these slabs together, but first we need to cut off the extra overlapping bit. There only needs to be a pinky's width of overlap, so measure out about a pinky's width of overlap, make a mark on the top and bottom, and then unwrap your clay and cut off that extra bit. Be careful not to cut off too much. You still need a pinky's width of overlap. You are now ready to scratch up those overlapping areas using a scoring disc. This scoring disc makes scratches that act like clay Velcro. Scratch up both sides of the slab where they attach. Then dab with water. The water acts like glue, and press the slab together firmly to create a cylinder. Use a clay tool to make lines perpendicularly across the seam in the slabs. This is called stitching. Then use your fingers to completely smooth out those stitch marks. Once you have attached the wall of your cylinder, you'll need to attach the base. So scratch up around the edge of your base and also scratch the bottom of the cylinder. Dab with water and press them together. Use a clay tool to stitch the seams and smooth with your fingers. At this point, you can pull out the mold that's been supporting your cylinder. Make sure you get the paper out too. If a little bit of paper sticks, it's no big deal. And we have a beautiful cylinder, but we need to put a lid on it. Roll out another slab of clay for your lid. Roll and flip until you have a pinky thick slab of clay. Then set your cylinder on top of it and use your knife to cut out the shape of that circle. Once you have the top of your cylinder, you can scratch it, dab it with water, press it on, stitch it, smooth it, and you will have a beautiful finished cylinder. Congratulations.